power, you're going to see change, you're going to see growth. But see, all this teaching about fruit, we're going to get into the scriptures, is also about how much do we really honor God, and what do we want to provide Him as offerings. I don't want to provide God a rotten banana. In the Old Testament, book of Malachi, back in those days before Jesus, they did animal offerings. Like if they went hunting in Africa, they would bring back a rhino or something, and they would offer that to God. Not necessarily a rhino, but they would take their livestock, right? Most of them were farmers, or if not, they would grow things and buy livestock, and they'd offer livestock to God, part of what was valued to them. And they would believe that would allow God to forgive them their sins, but it also was a sign of them honoring God with what He has given. Now, in that day, in Malachi's day, people still sort of did it and went through the motions, but their heart wasn't in it. So they would go out and, it's time to offer the sheep, and they would, look for the skinniest, sickest little sheep they had, genetically mutated, whatever. It's like, over the one, all the other sheep were like let alone. It was over in the corner. It was like running in circles trying to chase its tail. Whatever, his eyes were all messed up, foaming at the mouth. Like, let's give this one to God. Because you know what? We're not going to get any much money out of it anyway. We sold it, so we'll give this one to God. That's what they were doing. And God was angry. He sent Malachi to say, what are you doing? You're supposed to give me the first of what you have and not the last. You're supposed to give me the best of what you have and not the least. You're supposed to give everything to me. Because here's why we do it. And we only do it when we truly believe and are convicted of the idea that we would not have any of that in the first place if it weren't for God. Right? If we get to a point where we're working so hard during the week or whatever, and we're not sure we can get up for church, we need that extra hour, then we're going to take that extra hour. But if we believe I wouldn't even have that job if it wasn't for God, then I'm going to put that first. Sunday originally was not the last day of the week, it was the first day of the week, right? I think it still is on the calendar, right? Is it like that? Most calendars were, right? But why is that? It's not like the end after things are over. It's like you start the week off by honoring God. I continue to be dismayed. God give me strength. Like in our world today, the lack of constancy. What do I mean by that? When Jesus says in the New Testament, like, let your yes be yes and your no be no. When people make a commitment or are willing to keep it, when you can live constantly in your life, when you can organize your life really according to what your priorities are. God says, I want you to bear fruit. But to do that, you have to make sure that you're growing out of me. And then you'll see pure spiritual fruit. See, what's it say here? John 15. This is Jesus talking. I am the vine and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, then you will produce much fruit. Without me, you can't do anything. Without me. How many people have been blessed? I will say, have been blessed to go through really hard circumstances in life. Why are we? Yes, that's right. And why are we blessed when it happens? Because that's our only opportunity to understand this. Without me, you can't do anything. Without me, you can't do anything. The evangelism training yesterday said we need to encourage in our churches people to reclaim their story about their experience with God. They say they go to most churches, they ask people, what's your experience of God most recently or what? And they said, well, I was born in this church, I was baptized, I was confirmed, my family. No, that's not your experience of God. That's your biography. Your experience of God is like when Julie testifies, like, I wouldn't be here except for God. I wouldn't have made it. That's an experience of God. This is what God did for me this week. Everything's relative, and there are people that do a lot more, but I ran 19.5 miles this week, not all at once. Why do I tell that to you? Because there were 6 years of my life where I couldn't get out of bed because of my illness. I pray the whole time I run. First of all, it's painful, right? And I'm praying to God. And I'm like, I can't do this. He's like, you don't have to do it. I'm going to do it. And it keeps me completely aware that without me, without him, I can't do anything. Right? See, until we get that level of desperation in our lives and that level of power in our lives, and really, like, remembering that. Like, what shouldn't we do for God? I don't understand. What shouldn't we do for God? I mean, unless we just want to say, I don't believe in God, fine, go do your own thing, right? Go do your own thing, destroy your life, whatever. You know? See, that's what, you know, I love what they said yesterday, too. It's like, we can't convert people, we can't, you know, do things for people. They make their own decisions. Fine, you want to reject God and Jesus, and just go do it. Go live those fruits. But when we do say we live for Jesus and accept him into our hearts, like, we should feel desperation about needing to honor him.